newspaper headlines here in France with Flo Villamineau, our press reviewer. Hello there.
Hi, Catherine.
Now, first off, you've got some nice, happy news for France. We often have depressing stories, don't we? Let's start off with something happy. A Nobel Prize for economics going to a Frenchman.
That's right, Jean Tirole. You can see there's a lot of pride in the French press today. Let's start by looking at L'Opinion, which is the pro-business paper. They really applaud his win. He's the first Frenchman to win the prize in 27 years. You can see here it says, they talk about this Nobel Prize is showing the success of another French model, because if we take a look at that cartoon there, it suggests that the current French model that we're hearing a lot isn't so much a success. And let's take a look at that. You can see François Hollande there with a little rainy cloud over his head, cheeky grin. He's holding up the Nobel Prize for Economics and the Nobel Prize for Literature, which of course went to another Frenchman, Patrick Modiano. It's a winning France. It's a beautiful thing, says François Hollande. But in the background, you can see the reality of the French economy and the literature scene as well. You can see the finance minister, Michel Sapin, holding his much criticized 2015 budget, and he's wearing a dunce's cap. And then you can see...
I thought it was bunny ears.
Yeah, bunny ears. It's actually the French version of the dunce's cap.
I see.
And then you can see Valérie Trierweiler, who is, of course, François Hollande's ex-girlfriend, and she's holding up her bestseller, which is a tell-all book about their relationship.
All right, so a couple of little sour nods there, but a lot of pride, like you say, and really a lot of emotion, none less than for Mr. Tirole himself.
Absolutely. Le Parisien comes back on yesterday for Jean Tirole. What was it like for him? It was a very emotional day for him. You can see here the quote. It says, "It took me 30 minutes to get over the news, to calm myself down."
You shouldn't get over it.
You should never get over it. It's a great win for him. And he says that it was exactly noon. He knows exactly when he got the news. Le Parisien comes back on his stellar career as a researcher, especially his groundbreaking work on regulation, which he got the award for. Now, Libération, the left-wing paper, also applauds his win. I love this title, though. It says that Tirole is, he's a pro-free marketeer, he's a pro-business, but not too much.
Yeah.
Libération says he's kind of like Goldilocks. He's just the right amount. And Libé says that this is kind of a revenge for France, because France has been getting a lot of criticism, especially for its economic situation. Recently, a British businessman said that France was finished. Nothing works in France. Well, Libé says, well, we just won 2 Nobel Prizes out of 6, so maybe things aren't so bad. Now, Les Echos, the business paper, also applauds his win. It's about time he finally gets the Nobel Prize, because what's interesting about Jean Tirole is that he's not very well known by the general public, but Les Echos reminds us he's highly regarded by his peers, and he's actually been on the short list for several awards for many, many years.
Certainly getting his moment in the sun now, isn't he? I wonder maybe the finance minister, Michel Sapin, might be placing a little call to Jean Tirole before he has to go and convince the European Commission about his 2015 budget.
That's right. Now, he gives an interview to Les Echos, so that business paper we were just looking on, and he says, well, he's going to try and convince them. This is the headline. It says that how Paris is going to convince Europe. Now, he's quite defiant in the interview. He says that France has no intention of modifying its budget before it sends it to the European Commission tomorrow. Remember, the European Commission has threatened to reject the budget and fine France for its budget. To quote him, he says, in this case, the sovereignty belongs to the French Parliament, though he does say that reforms are to come.
Okay, some things to come there, yes. And there is a bit of a morose economic climate here in France, isn't there? So easy to understand the results of a new survey that's come out by some top researchers. That's
right. This is the Pew Research Center. This came out last week. Let's take a look at 20 Minutes, their headline. It kind of sums it up well. They talk about grosse déprime.
We started on such a positive note, Flo.
Yeah, well, this is the reality, isn't it? Now, according to this study, France is the most pessimistic country in the world. Only 23% of people have hope in the future. 86% of people believe that the future generation will be worse off than the current generation. So pretty depressing stuff. Let's end on a lighter note, though.
Absolutely, please.
This is a cute little story about a letter, actually, that went on quite an adventure. You can read about it in Aujourd'hui en France. Now, it was posted on the 24th of July in a little town near Carcassonne in the south of France. Now, its destination was the neighboring village just 8 kilometers away. So it should have just taken 10 minutes for it to go to that village. Instead, it took 72 days.
Oh dear.
The letter ended up arriving in early October with a postmark from Jakarta in Indonesia. Now, investigators are trying to figure out how this little letter with a 60-cent stamp went all the way around the world. What I love about it, though, it wasn't a love letter. It was a boring administrative letter.
But it got there in the end.
It got there in the end.
They'll make a movie out of that one day. Thanks very much, Flo Filomeno, with a look through the French papers. Back in a couple of hours' time with a look through the international press for us as well. Let's move on now with a look at what's making headlines online.